Let's get right into it. Number 10. The Decoy Effect. Imagine you're at a movie theater, craving some popcorn. The menu shows two options. A small bag for $3 and a large for $7. Now, you're not a monster. You're probably just going to get the small one because who wants to pay more than double for a little extra popcorn? But then, the theater adds a third option. A medium bag for $6.50. All of a sudden, the large bag for $7 doesn't look so bad. It's only 50 cents more than the medium. The medium popcorn isn't really there to be sold. It's a decoy, a psychological trick designed to make the large option seem like a steal. This is the decoy effect. Your brain, in its infinite wisdom, loves comparing things. It's much easier to decide between a large and a medium that are super close in price than it is to weigh the value of a large against a small. Suddenly, that huge bucket of popcorn, which was an absurd purchase just moments ago, feels like the most logical choice. Companies use this everywhere. A streaming service with a basic plan, a premium plan, and an almost as expensive but slightly worse premium light plan. A restaurant with a couple's special that's barely cheaper than ordering à la carte. It's all a carefully constructed illusion to guide you toward the most profitable option. You didn't really want that huge tub of popcorn. You just fell for a mental shortcut that made it seem like the best deal in the universe. Basically, your brain is a sucker for a good comparison, and companies are all too happy to give it one. Number 9. The Barnum Effect. Have you ever read your horoscope and thought, "Wow, that's so me"? Or taken one of those online quizzes that gives you a personality type and felt like it perfectly captured your essence? Well, sorry to burst your bubble, but your horoscope probably also described millions of other people too. This is the Barnum Effect, named after P.T. Barnum, the legendary showman who supposedly said, "A sucker is born every minute." It's the phenomenon where people believe vague, general statements are specifically tailored to them. The statements are so broad they could apply to almost anyone. You have a great need for other people to like and admire you. You have a tendency to be critical of yourself. You are proud of your independent thinking, and you don't accept other people's statements without sufficient proof. When we read these, our brain scrambles to find evidence in our own lives to make them true. We ignore the parts that don't fit and latch onto the ones that do. It's the reason why fortune tellers, psychics, and personality tests are so convincing. They feed you a bunch of generic platitudes, and your brain does the heavy lifting of making them feel personal. It's a testament to how badly we want to believe we are special and understood. The next time you read a personality description that feels eerily accurate, take a moment to realize you've probably just been Barnum-ed. Your mind is a master at turning meaningless information into a meaningful narrative about yourself. Number 8. The Spotlight Effect. Remember that one time you tripped walking into a grocery store and were absolutely mortified, certain that every single person in the store saw you and was silently judging your lack of grace? Yeah, you're not alone. The spotlight effect is the feeling that everyone is watching and paying attention to your every move, especially your mistakes. It's the invisible, high-powered spotlight you believe is following you everywhere you go. The truth is, people are way too wrapped up in their own lives to notice or care that much about your little trip. They're thinking about their own shopping list, their own bills, or their own awkward social encounters. This isn't a diss. It's a relief. We tend to believe our internal experiences, like our emotions and thoughts, are as obvious to others as they are to us. We think our anxieties are painted all over our faces, and our small social blunders are the headline news of the day. Studies have shown that when people are asked to guess how many observers noticed a specific thing they did, like wearing an embarrassing t-shirt to a group meeting, they consistently overestimate the number. The reality is that we're our own harshest critics, and the audience we perceive is mostly a fabrication of our own minds. So the next time you feel like you're on stage, take a deep breath. The spotlight is probably just a tiny flashlight in your own imagination. Number 7. The Google Effect. Imagine you're trying to remember the capital of Finland. Was it Helsinki? You're pretty sure it was, but instead of digging through the dusty corners of your brain to confirm it, you just pull out your phone and Google it. The capital is, in fact, Helsinki. But here's the weird part. Because you looked it up so quickly, your brain is far less likely to store that information in its long-term memory. This is the Google effect, or digital amnesia. It's the tendency to forget information that you know you can easily find online. Our brains are essentially outsourcing memory to the internet. We're not as focused on retaining facts anymore because our phones and computers act as a kind of external hard drive. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. Our brains are just being efficient. Why waste precious memory space on trivial facts when you can just remember where to find the information? It's a shift from remembering what to knowing how to find it. The scary part is, this reliance can weaken the cognitive muscles we use for recall. Think of it like this. If you have a calculator, you might get a bit rusty at doing mental math. If your phone has all the answers, why bother to remember them? The human brain is a magnificent tool, but it's also a lazy genius that loves a good shortcut, and the internet is the ultimate shortcut. Number 6. The Baader-Meinhof phenomenon. You just bought a new car, let's say a bright yellow vintage Volkswagen Beetle. Suddenly you start seeing that exact car everywhere, on the road, in parking lots, in movies, even on billboards. You start to think, what is going on? Did everyone just buy this car? Nope. This is the Baader-Meinhof phenomenon, also known as frequency illusion. It's a cognitive bias where you notice something for the first time and then you start seeing it everywhere. Your brain, once it has a new piece of information, subconsciously starts looking for it in the environment. It's like a subconscious search engine running in the background. It's not that the yellow beetles suddenly multiplied overnight. It's that your brain has now been primed to notice them. Before, they were just part of the background noise. Now, they're the main event. This phenomenon applies to everything from learning a new word and suddenly hearing it in every conversation, to hearing a specific song on the radio for the first time and then it being on every playlist you listen to. The world isn't conspiring to show you your new car. Your brain is just doing what it's wired to do, taking a new piece of data and searching for patterns. It's a trick of selective attention. Your brain isn't creating reality. It's just highlighting a very specific part of it for you. Number 5. The Tetris Effect. Have you ever spent hours playing a video game only to close your eyes and still see the little blocks falling or hear the music? Or maybe you've spent an entire day on a new project at work only to find yourself dreaming about spreadsheets and deadlines. This is the Tetris Effect. It's a form of persistent mental imagery where a repetitive activity, especially a visually intense one, starts to take over your thoughts, dreams, and even perceptions. The brain, when it's highly engaged in a specific task, starts to create a cognitive rut. It's not just a video game thing. It can happen with anything repetitive. You can get the Tetris effect from organizing shelves, writing code, even reading too much of a specific type of book. Your brain is essentially stuck in a loop, replaying the patterns and images it just spent so much time processing. It's a weird glimpse into how deeply your brain can be altered by concentrated, repeated activity. The phenomenon shows just how susceptible our minds are to patterns. When we focus on one thing for an extended period, it's not just the task that's affected, it's the very fabric of our thoughts. You're not losing your mind, you're just a victim of a deep psychological groove. Number 4. The Dunning-Kruger Effect. You've probably met this person before, the one who has read one book about a complex topic, say particle physics, and now believes they are a world-renowned expert, ready to debate actual physicists on the matter. This is the Dunning-Kruger Effect, a cognitive bias where people with low ability in a certain area overestimate their competence. On the flip side, those who are genuinely highly competent tend to underestimate their own abilities. This happens because people who lack knowledge or skill also lack the metacognitive ability to recognize their own incompetence. They don't know enough to know how much they don't know. It's a cruel paradox. The more you learn about a subject, the more you realize the vastness of what's still unknown, which can make you feel less confident. The person who's only skimmed the surface sees the topic as a small, easy-to-master puddle, while the expert sees the deep, terrifying ocean of nuance and complexity. This effect explains everything from why your uncle thinks he can fix anything with duct tape to why people with zero medical training are so confident in diagnosing their own ailments. The Dunning-Kruger Effect is basically your brain's ego protecting you from the brutal truth that you're not an expert on everything. Number 3. The Availability Heuristic. Think about this, which is more common in the United States: death by shark attack or death by falling airplane parts. Most people would instantly say shark attacks. The reason? Shark attacks are sensationalized in the media. They're dramatic, terrifying, and unforgettable. The image of a shark attack is immediately available in your mind. Deaths from falling airplane parts, while rare, actually happen more often, but they're not as widely reported. This mental shortcut is called the Availability Heuristic. It's our tendency to judge the likelihood of an event based on how easily we can recall it from memory. If it's easy to think of examples, we assume it happens more frequently. This is why we might be more afraid of a plane crash than a car crash, even though the latter is infinitely more likely. News media, social media, and scary movies all feed this cognitive bias. They fill our brains with vivid, shocking examples of certain events, making them feel much more common than they actually are. Your brain isn't a perfect statistician. It's a lazy archivist that prefers to pull from the most exciting and easily accessible files. The world isn't as scary as the highlight reel in your mind. Number 2. The Zeigarnik Effect. Have you ever left a task unfinished and found that it just keeps nagging at you? You can't stop thinking about that email you didn't send or that episode of a show you paused halfway through. This is the Zeigarnik Effect. Our brains have a weird obsession with completing what they've started. The mind will actively hold on to information about unfinished tasks, but once the task is complete, it lets go. It's like a little cognitive alarm that won't turn off until you've tied up that loose end. This is why cliffhangers in movies and TV shows are so effective. They create an open loop in your mind that you feel compelled to close. This effect can be a powerful tool for productivity. If you're struggling to start a big project, just do a tiny bit of it. Write one sentence, create the document, or sketch a single idea. Once you've started, the Zeigarnik Effect will kick in, and your brain will start pestering you to finish it. It's a double-edged sword, though. It's great for motivation, but terrible for your peace of mind when you've got a dozen half-finished tasks floating around in your head. Your brain is basically a digital assistant that won't stop sending you push notifications until the job is done. Number 1. The Fovea Fixation Trick. Have you ever tried to find your keys, staring directly at the messy counter where you know they are, only to feel a blind panic? You look away, sigh in frustration, and then look back and suddenly they're right there. What happened? You didn't magically conjure them into existence. This is the Fovea Fixation Trick, and it's a weird glitch in how your brain processes visual information. The fovea is the small, central part of your retina that's responsible for sharp, detailed central vision. When you are looking for something specific, like a phone or a set of keys, your brain expects to see it. It creates a mental model of the object and then uses your fovea to confirm its existence. But if the keys are slightly covered, or if the lighting is off, or if your brain is just distracted, it can fixate on the wrong thing. It's like your brain has a search filter on, but it's not a very good one. The filter sees a bunch of stuff that's not your keys, and it just stops. It gets stuck. But when you look away and look back, you reset the search. Your brain's filter turns off for a second, and it re-engages the full visual field, allowing you to notice the keys that were there all along. It's a small but infuriating example of how our brains can get locked into a single pattern of thought and perception. Your brain is a brilliant, but sometimes stubborn machine that needs to be reset to see what's right in front of it. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.